I'm so stoked to play with everyone again, and it's going to be crazy competition this summer.
We're excited for the opportunity to face all the other top NA teams.
The NA scene has gotten so strong. It's 8 teams going in and competing for first place.
I feel like there's a lot of hype for us, and it's just like, do it, or are we just going to get smashed? I don't know.
We're going to see a lot of people tilting, because starting off with Super Week's like brutal.
I mean, I think it's a great way to kick off the summer split.
Everybody's playing 5 games, so it's not just you.
Come here to do work.
This split is to compete on a global scale.
We need top 2. It's not just North America, it's the entire world.
If we don't go to the Worlds, it'd be a big disappointment for me and the rest of my team. It's just like there's more on the line now.
In order to get to Worlds, we have to win this split. That's pretty much all we're setting our sights on.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to opening day of the 2013 North American LCS Summer Split. I'm Remington Bisson III, along with Joshua Jat Leesman. And we are kicking off the Summer Split with 20 huge games during this Super Week, starting with a rematch of the Spring Split Finals, Team Coast versus the champions, Team Solo Mid.
And over the next 10 weeks, 8 teams will battle for a spot in the North American Regional Playoffs and a shot at the world title. It breaks down like this. The 6 squads with the best records at the end of the split will earn a berth in the regional tournament, where they'll fight for a spot in the world playoffs. The bottom 2 teams will not only miss the regional playoffs, they'll be dropped out of the NA LCS and have to re-qualify for Season 4.
And you can get a full schedule of the Summer Split, the LCS regional tournaments, and the world playoffs by visiting lolesports.com. And while you're there, you can also check out the rosters of the 8 teams that are competing in this Summer Split.
Those teams are the Spring Split champions, Team Solo Mid, also Team Coast, Vulcan, Curse with Edward now, Dignitas, Counterlogic Gaming with all their roster changes, and the 2 new teams, Cloud9 and Velocity Esports.
Yeah, but before we get into the action on the Rift, it's time to catch up on all of the changes that happened during the break.
And the biggest news, obviously, was Edward, formerly of Gambit Gaming, and also a European All-Star, joined Team Curse as their starting support. A lot of people wondered what Curse was going to do once Elements kind of removed himself from that roster, and now it's Edward. It's so exciting. COG also had a lot of changes, including Hotshot GG leaving the starting roster from the team, and Nian Tonso took his place over in the top lane. Tons of new roster there for COG. And GGU changed their name to Team Coast and also changed their mid laners. Shifter is back for them. For you, those of you who are dedicated fans, the first week of the last Split's LCS, Shifter was quite good for GGU.
Yep.
Then he was out for the rest of the season. Jinte was there. Now it's back to Shifter.
So that's not it. There's more. We also have 5 new teams joining the League Championship Series.
So the 2 new teams in North America are Cloud9, who qualified under the name Quantic Gaming, and also Velocity. And then in Europe, there's 3 new teams, Lemon Dogs, who qualified as Sinners Never Sleep, Team Alternate, and Meet Your Makers.
All right, so knowledge transfer complete. Let's take a look at today's games. Up first, it's going to be a rematch of the Spring Championship Showdown. Team Coast, formerly known as GGU, versus Team Solo Mid. Then Curse and Edward play their first LCS game together when they face off against Vulcan.
Our third game of the day features Scar and Team Dignitas taking on High and Cloud9, followed by the new-look COG facing off against LCS rookies, Velocity Esports.
And then we see Team Solo Mid jumping back into the Rift to battle up against Cloud9, and the opening day wraps up with Team Coast throwing down against Vulcan.
And remember, you can vote on who you think will win today's games by going to lolesports.com. Click on the matches at the top right, go to Week 1, and vote.
All right, and then keep your crystal balls out. Hit us up on Twitter and let us know which LCS player will have the most impact on their new team's success and why.
We're at LOL Esports. Use the hashtag LCS, and we could read your answers later today.
All right, so now we have one more bit of news before we kick off the games. The LCS will be using the 3.7 patch to start the Summer Split, which means the Ice Witch Lissandra will be available in Champion Select.
And Lissandra, the new champion to the league, is a high-utility, kind of medium-ranged mage, not the long-range main we're kind of used for. So she's considered a mid, but if we're going to see her today, it's most likely going to be in the top lane or as a support if we see her. So her top lane works because she has high utility and tools to deal with a lot of melee champions in top lane. She can keep them at a distance. And support works because she has extremely strong close range peel. Also a fun factor, that E she's throwing out right now is 1025 range, and the cool thing about it is it obeys the same rules as Flash when going through walls. So if it's more than halfway through a wall, it'll send you to the other side, which effectively means Lissandra can jump over anything.
And she's not the only one that's going to be jumping onto the Rift in 3.7 patch. You can bet there will be a lot more pros trolling in the Rift today.
And everyone's been playing top lane Trundle. If they're playing Trundle a lot of times, the new thing to do on him is Blade of the Ruin King, first item, and then you just run at people. If you use your R first and then Blade of the Ruin King, it's a huge percentage max health spike on an opponent. Trundle's strong in the top lane against other bruisers because he can steal so many stats, but he's weak to range champions in top lane and also heavy disengage comps because at the end of the day, Trundle can just run at people.
You just troll you. Absolutely.
A little bit.
So while Trundle is more attractive than ever, the champ who got the biggest makeover was the Winter's Wrath, Sejuani.
And Sejuani's seen the most play since the 3.7 patch of the Freljord champions.
I think
kind
we
of
can all
got
agree
reworked.
with that.
And there's a good chance we're going to see a lot of bans today for Sejuani.
Yeah.
She's much more competitively viable than the old Sejuani before the rework, mainly because her power is just more controllable for competitive. She's strong in most team comps, particularly against physical damage teams, and if her team has strong follow-up because her passive gives her armor but not MR. And if she has a weakness, it's against highly mobile teams. The one time we've actually seen Sejuani, the new Sejuani in competitive, was in the semifinals of the OGN Champions, where CJ Entus Frost played her, but Blaze picked 5 incredibly mobile champions and just ran circles around her, and they were actually able to counter it.
All right, well, we'll have to see what comes out. We've got to take a short break, and when we come back, it's the first match of the 2013 North American LCS Summer Split, Team Coast versus Team Solo Mid. But first, sit back and enjoy a look at the 2013 League of Legends All-Star Weekend in Shanghai, China. The fans are starting to fill up the 8,000 seats in this indoor stadium, live from Shanghai Grand Stage in China.
World champions TPA Prikov. That was amazing ring. He's going. Oh my God! Sorry, he's managed to
my God, he got it!
He's going to win it. Toy 6 down the turret. And look at the face of Messiah there. So as in all kinds of trouble